Lisa.
Hi, Steve.
Hey, we are back today for another one of our casual conversations.
Mhm.
So today we're going to talk about the end of year reflection because it's end of year, as you can probably see by what we're wearing.
We are festive today, and it's our last video of the year, and we started recording probably in January. I don't actually remember, but we've done a few of these. We've been very consistent. I'm very proud of us.
We are I'm proud of us as well. We followed through on our intentions this year.
And almost bringing it back to our topic today, I think this is like one of the things that I have enjoyed doing in the past when we get to this time of year is almost looking for ways that life has delivered on things that I've hoped for in the past that I kind of had. And it's almost hope is not the right word. It's a opening to
Mm,
something new that I put out there that I would like to have these, and here it is, right? So often, just taking the time to look around and say, what's here that both I wanted and have expressed a desire for in the past, but what's here that I didn't even ask for, but somehow just showed up miraculously.
yeah.
I love going through that process at the end of the year because I don't know, it certainly gets us into gratitude, but we really, or I really recognize how much is working and is offered and is here,
Mm,
present.
yeah. And it's great to look back, isn't it? Because I think sometimes, well, it's good to look through two lenses, It's like, what am I grateful for? What went really well for me? And like, what am I proud of? And then also like what was not quite as good for me, or where did I not feel totally aligned? And that's the only way we can learn. I think unless you do that process, often we get pulled into life, don't we? We just get pulled into each day. And I think, like, for example, New Year's resolutions, right? You could argue, why not just do resolutions? But actually I feel like, yeah, that's just very much like focused on the year ahead. What do I want? What do I want versus that retrospective, what was missing? It's a slightly different lens to look at it through. So I think it's super useful to do the retrospective bit first. And this is played out like in companies. Every company nowadays that follows like more of this agile methodology, which where most companies build their product, all the teams do a retrospective and then they do a planning. They don't do them together. So
Okay.
it's really important because it focuses you on the past, and that's where the learning is. So yeah, it's the end of the year now, and I guess how would you or in your past, how have you typically looked back at the year? Do you have any process for doing that, or is it just more like simple than that?
Yeah. I I almost like to look back at the highlight reel. Um, Almost look at some of the holidays I've taken, some of the time I've spent with friends and family. Um, I really enjoy just the word that's coming to me is honoring what's been, like what's happened, what's occurred. I enjoy looking back and bringing into my thought process or into to mind some of the clients that I've worked with. Watch a lot of comedies or sitcoms now, but I did when I was younger, and they always at the end of the year, when we didn't have like 5 episodes available on Netflix, we actually had to sit in front of the TV and wait for the show
Hmm.
to come on. And then the end of season was always great because they would do these highlights of the things that happened. So kind of plays like that in my mind, and I will often journal about it, think about all of the things that I've appreciated from that year. How about you?
Mm.
That's one thing I do.
Yeah, similar thing really. It's I mean, I guess because I've done a lot of coaching as you have, I sort of like to mix up the coaching type questions on myself. So those kind of big open questions, I typically like just come up with a few for myself and just journal. I do a lot of journaling now anyway. And yeah, I just like to write the question out. For some reason, it's easier to me when I write it out than just think in my head. So just write the question, just sit with it, and it could be things like, what made me feel alive this year is one. I think that's a really key one actually, because for me, that's what it's all about. Like we're here. for this short period of time. We're here to experience life as ourselves, honoring however we were made, our values, and all of that stuff. So to me, I think most of us feel most alive when we're honoring our values and we're being our most self and we're being in the experience. So I think that's a really good question because it taps into something a bit deeper, you know, because a feeling of aliveness can mean something so different to different people. Some people might mean, you know, when I did those 20 bungee jumps or jumped out of a plane or something. Other people, it could just be when I was going for my daily walk in nature or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
And the opposite to that could be, when did I not feel myself, or when did I not feel alive this year? And it might be, for me, actually, one of the answers to that would be when I couldn't do exercise. I hurt my back for a few months and I couldn't really go to the gym. And I've realized, you know, how important that is for me. I always knew I liked sort of gym and exercise, but when you can't do it, it gets you down and you don't feel like you're that full sense of aliveness. You know, luckily for me, it's not my only value. I have other things, so there's balance there. But I really know that impacted me. So yeah, I think, when did I feel alive, and when did I either not feel aliveness but feel funky, or whatever the question is? It's something like that, to give that duality and kind of see what comes up. So there's a couple of the questions, but there's all sorts of questions you could create for yourself that touch on, really just touch on how you felt. You know, how did I feel? How did I experience this year? What was lacking? You know,
Of how much reflection is actually required, and how much can we just be with what is right now in this moment and let life unfold and connect with our own aliveness within us to navigate whatever unfolds in front of us, rather
yeah,
than, you know, planning is great. And often there's almost like a dark side to planning, I think, because there's this striving and this pushing and this controlling that it can lead to if we plan and then get attached very much to how we want things to be,
yeah,
rather than being in whatever is right now and either consciously choosing the state that you want to bring to that. But the precursor to that is almost being really, really present to what is and to what's bubbling up deeper than our just thinking brain, right?
yeah.
That's the conscious intentionality that we bring. I think that comes from a level that's deeper than our thinking brain.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think it's so easy to like fall into a trap in a lot of things. You can just fall into a habit, and the mind is very good at like criticizing or going, "Oh, here we go," or, you know, like putting that heaviness on, or resisting a situation, or saying it shouldn't be that way. It's kind of part of our ego. Really, is that kind of resistance to what is. And if we listen to it too much, you get dragged down by it, and I think that's what happens with a lot of people. You get so dragged down by it, you sort of lose sense of who actually am I. Who am I really, like, without that voice? Who am I really? But most of us are just, you know, like kind, loving beings, but we're just a bit dragged down by this all this noise. So I think if you can actually find a way to choose a state, which you're right, I use that term a lot, energetic state. It's like you choose an energetic state of like enthusiasm or love or connection or something, and you wear it, and it's like setting an intention, right? I'm going to go to this event and I'm going to be the most upbeat, energetic person there, even if I feel like crap. It's amazing what you can actually create, because it goes out. It's like energy. It comes back, and all of a sudden, your experience is different. Exactly, and it's not like I'm saying that, or we're saying that you sort of have to choose this like positive mindset in every situation, because it's not that. I think for me, it's, as we're talking about reflecting on the year, my learning is definitely that when I've been more conscious and consciously chosen to notice what's going on each day, and consciously chosen what state I'm going to choose to be in, or energy I'm going to put out, then I've had a much more fulfilling day, week, year, month, year, essentially. When I look back and I've been unconscious, I've been so busy that I've been pulled into things left, right, and centre, no time to really even take for myself, then that's when most of the non great experiences have been, or where I felt less fulfilled. So, you know, even if I choose not to be on the positive mindset, I can't be like, no, I'm just tired, but I'll go and I'll just be quiet. It's still fine, but I've consciously chosen it. I think that's, for me, that's the key. It's just trying to do things more consciously and presently, and consciously making the choice rather than just being taken down the river, you know. So in a way, it's kind of simple, right? It doesn't have to be complicated. And yeah, I mean, however you do it, regardless of the questions you use, whether you write it down, whether you don't, it's all the same thing. It's like just take some time to just have a bit of a reflection, have a bit of a reflection, and you'll be amazed when you actually take the dedicated time and you do it with presence, i.e., you're not multitasking or watching TV while you're writing. You're actually taking a journal or something like this, and you're just literally sitting with a page and letting stuff come out. You'd be amazed what comes out.
Yeah.
Amazed, and especially if you come up with a few like prompt questions that like trigger something, you know, because one could be something like, I don't know, like what are you ignoring? Like what are you avoiding? What have you been avoiding this year? Like, or what voice have you been avoiding this year? Something like that can be a good one, because I think a lot of us tend to do to have this little voice telling us, oh, you know, should be doing, you know, doing that, but don't. You know, we shut it down. So I think that's a good one to kind of to open up some learnings.
The reflection piece, what's nice about it is that it slows us down. It just gets us really present to whatever it is that we want to ask ourselves, or wherever our reflection takes us. But it really kind of gets us out of the hamster wheel.
It does, and sometimes it can be scary, I think. Like, so some people, it's quite scary to like reflect, because, you know, there are people that probably haven't had the best year for whatever reason, or there's things that haven't been expressed, or things that have been avoided for a reason, you know. So some of this is not easy, but I don't know. What I do know is most of the time when people like actually address things, like anything, right? Whenever you talk to someone, address something, therapy, coaching, any of these other things, they're all about getting something out, you know, and it typically is a release of some kind of energy, stuck energy, and then there's space to create something new.
So to wrap up, what are some of the questions that you would say you would include in, if someone's going to do year in reflection?
I'd look at it from always two angles, like the kind of, you can say positive or negative, or, you know, I don't know, lessons learned versus things to improve, whatever language, but something that addresses both. So on the positive side, where did I feel most alive? When did I feel fulfilled this year? Where did I stretch myself this year? What am I proud of? What did I learn? Yeah, on the other side, the flip side, yeah, when did I feel what was lacking this year for me? If I'm honest with myself, what was lacking? What was I avoiding this year? Where did I hold myself back? And yeah, what am I disappointed in? Maybe. I mean, that sounds a bit negative, I guess, but anything like that, any of those questions that can just get you to really look inside, and if it is what it is, then write it down. Like, you know what I mean? If that's the truth, if you were disappointed or you were lacking or you were sad, right, get it out, because it will give you information to help reshape maybe some of the things you do, some of the people you hang around, whatever, in the new year. It's all really useful stuff.
I'll add to that a couple of exercises that we tend to do with coaching clients. Looking at, you know, your relationships, your fun and adventure, your work, like all of the things that make, and you could come up with the categories based on what would make an amazing life to you, or a life well lived. What's a life well lived? What are the categories that make up a life well lived for you? And then just reflect on, how are you doing in those areas? You know, what's there that you want to celebrate and appreciate? And then what's something that you'd love to invite in, right? To even make that even better, right? And sometimes it's just, there's something that you want to do in the moment. Like you realize the relationship that you've not been investing in, that you really care and value. And so you send an email, you send a text, you call that person up and you tell them, hey, how you doing, right? So wherever we can do things in the moment out of those exercises, I think they're really great. Write your obituary. Like, when you pass, what do you want someone to write about you and your life, right? And out
Mm,
of that, it's a really great values excavation type of exercise, because the things that are in there will be the things that are most important to you. And so to write that, and to just let yourself go through the process of, you're at the, you're no longer here, and someone's writing about the impact you've had on them, or about your life. What do you want them to say? So I think that is about it for us for 2022.
I know.
I
I
feel
know.
like
It's
we
been a
should
great year of
have confetti.
conversations. We've got no confetti, I know.
Feel like we should have had confetti.
No,
Well,
no,
listen,
I've got nothing I can throw here, unfortunately.
I think we started. We started here, but I really want to thank you for co-creating these with me. It's been such a pleasure. I feel like I've learned a lot. I've gotten to know you even better, and so it has been a real joy to hold the space with you in these conversations.
Thank you so much. I would say the same to you. It's been an absolute pleasure. I've really loved it. Thank you for helping me live out more of my own values, yeah, which is about like connection and exploration and sharing with other people and giving me the confidence to do it, because I wouldn't have done it without you. And let's see what the next project brings. I'm excited for the new year.
Absolutely, me too.
Cool.
And happy holidays to everyone.
Happy holidays. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.